Don't forget to double tap the screen to say you like the video. There's no thumbs up button. There's no thumbs up button, so you have to tap the screen twice. Bing, bing. And that tells me that you are in attendance and at attention and have your thinking caps on. You guys remember the whole thinking caps, right? When it was coming up in school. Everybody put your thinking caps on. And they used to snap. Ulrich, the educator, would tell us more about that. I don't know if they do that where he's at, but I remember doing that when I was a child. We are waiting for DocDoc the Surgeon to come on in. DocDoc the Surgeon will be here by 8:15 if all things work out according to plan. I am going to unplug this. Oh yeah. We're thinking this or this. Hold on. I like this. It's like a wand. You can see it in the reflection of my glass. It's a wand, I tell you. It's a wand. We're waiting for DocDoc the Surgeon to come aboard, and then we will start our show. Before the doc comes in, how are you? We did a show with Ulrich, the educator, who's out in Philly at the moment, and he's doing his teaching. This is like I think his second week of official classes, and everything is going well for him. He was really busy this last Sunday. We look forward to seeing him this Sunday. Jesus loves you. Thank you, Elsie. And all you have to do is tap the screen twice, and guess what will happen? It'll give me the thumbs up to let me know that you are supporting the machine. Boom. There it goes. So DocDoc the Surgeon will be here today. We will have Ulrich the educator again on Sunday because Daniel B., the entrepreneur, he was here on Sunday. We did a great show. And I look forward to maybe even if we can do like a little rotation and then have it where we will all do a panel. Because, life be lifing, so to speak, when you try to get everyone to meet. And it doesn't work out all the time. I know it was getting really difficult with Ulrich and going to meet up with Daniel B. Because Daniel B. lives up in Westchester. Ulrich was working he was working in the Bronx. And by the time, and a lot of times we would have to go to Ulrich's house first so that he can walk the dog and then drive up to Westchester to meet up with Daniel B. And half the time, Daniel B. was at a dinner or an event. He's a bit of a socialite. Why his Instagram doesn't have 36,000 followers is beyond me. I think he just doesn't care. He'll post now and then, but not as frequently as you would think he should, especially all the events he goes to. And he has so many friends, and he has so many bridges that he never burns. He keeps friends forever. So it's hard to get Daniel B. locked in. And DocDoc the Surgeon is also a person that's very difficult because he's doing a daytime gig And then after that, he does telemedicine where people call him up and he's like seeing them virtually. And then he's doing plastic surgery, Botox right after that. The guy is busy, busy, busy. He has several offices. It's so hard to get my friend DocDoc the Surgeon to come aboard, but we've been talking about it for the last few weeks, and he was like, I would like to. He wants to make a concerted effort to come aboard, and I love that. And we decided today, Friday, so here we are. Why are you so happy? With three question marks. You see, the three question marks is a sign that you have this idea of yourself and you're afraid that no one notices or sees you. Be careful putting three question marks to a question. You can ask the question with one question mark. And when you put three, it shows massive low self esteem. It shows that you believe that you're invisible and no one ever gets to see you. And no matter what you say or do, you will then fall into the cracks. So I hope you've learned something today. And that's more got Trendon. Okay. Why are you so happy? He wants to know. The gaming channel of awesome. It looks like spiders are having a meeting on your head. Really? That's a hell of an imagination you have there. Spiders meetings head. Okay, then we have and then what you need to do is you need to tap the screen twice to get the to turn up the like button, show some class. Bro screaming Democrat. No, I'm not a Democrat. And the gaming channel also that says, is this Kamala's body double? Ooh. We like a good troll here at the Premium Black News channel. And tonight we're gonna have our co-host DocDoc the Surgeon. And we're gonna go over this podcast called the Fugazi Podcast. And every time, and I even in the description put down, forget about it. It's like every time you say Fugazi, I just go forget about it. So it's a new podcast, been out about almost 2 years, and it's doing extremely well. I'm really, really proud of this young man for what he's putting out there. And he says things like propensity. I like when he breaks down propensity. And he has a couple of other key phrases that like kind of belong to him right now, so that's kind of cool. And the gaming channel of awesomeness says that's Italian. Whoa, what is that? Cultural appropriation. That's Italian. That's Italian. Whoa, cultural appropriation. Well, you should check out the guy's channel. It's the Fugazi Podcast, and the person that's doing the channel is ADOS. That's an acronym for an American descendant of slavery. It's a it's something that was coined by this woman on YouTube named Yvette Carnell, and she had a not a co-host, but she had um, a colleague, and together they came up with that name, American Descendants of Slavery, and it's basically a lineage acronym, so that you're not confusing them with Jamaicans or Puerto Ricans or Africans and Nigerians and South Africans and Panamanians. There has to be like this pure, concise ask. So that's what the ADOS community does. They want clear and concise. And then there's another group of people, some sort of fringe faction of the ADOS movement, which is also FBA, which stands for Foundational Black American, which means the same as ADOS, which is basically born here in America, don't want to represent for any other country, don't want to use the terminology that African American, they don't want to use Negro, they don't want to use anything that doesn't truly define them. They don't want to be confused just under the umbrella of black. Like this channel is the premium black news. And I always say it's not a black show. It's not a black channel. It's a channel that discusses everything that represents it's like everything we need to know as black people doesn't have to be a subject about black people because we're always affected. We're always being marginalized, so to speak, or we're always affected in some sort of way by this whole black umbrella. And that's what the premium black news channel is about. And don't forget, you have to hit the screen twice so that we can have the thumbs up. I see there's 30 of you guys, 34 in the chat, and there's one thumbs up. We need you to hit the screen twice. You tap the screen twice, and that will give it the thumbs up. Joel, Flame On, the gaming channel of awesome. Jokes keep going your wait. Jokes keep doing your thing. Have a good night. Oh, you're out of here? The show hasn't even started. DocDoc the Surgeon, an actual MD who is board certified. Board certified. That means he went back to school and studied for 6 months, 8 hours a day, while working a full time job, while being a husband, while being a father, so that he can get his board certification. I know this guy since 1995, and he's been in school since 1995. Every time I look up, the guy's in school again. So I think he's finally out of that, at 50. But we all have we all have our paths. Red Hulk, Green Hulk. Black people are kind of a bunch of whiners. IMO. I'm not American, and I'm not going to. Okay, here we go. DocDoc the Surgeon. Boom. DocDoc the Surgeon. How are you, my friend? Yeah, dude, I am here. I am present. I am ready. How you feeling? So what is this? What is this you wearing? A Brooklyn hat? Ah. But what does it represent? Is there a Brooklyn team, or this is just a right, right, right. Okay, 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 okay. Wait a minute. You saying you were born in Brooklyn as well? I didn't know that. So you're coming. I always thought you was from Jersey. I always thought you was a Newark kid. You went to school though in Newark, right? And that was so. What? When did you leave Brooklyn? Okay, so you have no memory of Brooklyn. Okay, and then when you moved to Jersey, how long you? I met you in '95 in Harlem when were you considered a resident back then? Well, okay, okay. So when I met you, I was under the impression that you were a Newark guy, and look at that. I find out 20 something years later that you're born in Brooklyn. I also was born here in Brooklyn as well. Look at that. You didn't know. Where did you think I was born in? Really? Right, right, right. But I met you in Harlem, and we both under the we both were wrong in in our thoughts of where the person is from. Yeah, I was born in Brooklyn. I was born in Bushwick, Brooklyn. Along with my mother and father were both born here in Bushwick, Brooklyn. Right, right. Mm. I had I had I had the privilege of being born at home. It was a 7 yeah, it was 7:30 it was 7:30 PM, and that's when I entered into the world on October 1st of '73. No, what it wasn't planned. My mother was 9 months, and she figured she had another week or 2 to go, and there was a sale on Knickerbocker Avenue, and my mother was trying to make the sale, so when she had contractions, she was ignoring the contractions, and she says that she sat on the radiator like, the store closed at 7:30. This was like 7 p.m. And she was trying to run to the store to get an outfit. For some reason, I don't know what the outfit was for this 9 month pregnant woman. Well, she was 20 years old at the time. And by I don't know what it was. I never got a chance to really have that conversation with her. She was very difficult to talk to. And right. And she fought it and fought it and fought it. And next thing you know, by 7:15, she laid down on the floor. By 7:30, I was in the world, brother. I was free. I was free. I went through the canal and everything. I went through the birth canal, none of that. I went through the portal, sir. I went through the portal. That's right. So here I am. Here I am. 5 decades. 5 decades. I think you need to wipe your screen if you can with a towel or a rag or something, not your finger. It's a little blurry. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Yeah. All right. That looks much better. Definitely. So that's a little background of me, and the house my mother was born and raised in, it's still in our family. We still have that house. I am um I am the executor of that house. So it's still around here in Bushwick. And when I say here, I'm only because I'm in Red Hook, Brooklyn at the moment. I'm in Red Hook, Brooklyn in my office. I put the red ceiling up for you guys. Uh, and were you able to see me before you were wiping the screen? Maybe you did something when you wiped it. I can see you perfectly. You want to slide out and come right back in? Don't forget, press the screen twice to give us a thumbs up. I see 34 people in the building, and I would like to get a few more thumbs up. Press the screen twice, y'all. Moosey says, "You're not 73." Yes, I'm 1973. It was a great year. So they say. Red Hulk, Green Hulk, black people are the kind of bunch of whiners. Oh, yeah, I read that already. Objective, outside opinions based on what I see. Is that objective, though? I would question that. Seems a little not objective. Brittany Drake, how are you? Okay, here goes the DocDoc the Surgeon. Let me see. Henry Seeley, how are you?
All right.
And you look great. You look so much brighter and everything. You look 10 times better, if that's even possible.
Okay. All right.
And we got Brittany Drake. Hi.
All
We
right.
got Henry Seeley tonight on dinners and drive-ins. Yeah. Seeley says, guys, what's the best burger in the USA? I'm sorry, that's not part of the topic today. What you can do is leave a super chat. When I say super chat, I mean a cash app. $ Elvis Rosenberg, and maybe we can get to a question or two. And then we have Doc the Butcher. Good evening, Doc the Butcher. Can you see the chat?
No, I can't see the. Hold up. Well, no, I could see the chat, but I don't see none of the what you're talking about though.
I'm towards the end now. We had the Firehawk 96. If Jack Black was black. Then we have ramen noodles on your head. Yeah, I know. Like I hear that a lot. Wow, ramen noodles. If people would give up their left toe for this ramen noodle right here, boy, that's a fact. So today's show, we're going to talk about this podcast that's
Got on.
getting some nice traction. And
Okay.
because you're a board certified MD, which is medical doctor, you're the guy that can write scripts, open up a chest wound, take out and do plastic surgery. You got all these things under your belt, and you're my friend since 1995. So I appreciate that. Or was it 96? I don't remember.
The 90s.
It was in the 90s. Yeah, it was in the 90s. So I'm going to. We're going to start playing this. What do I do? I go to my. Oh, okay. I sent it to my other phone. So forgive me if my head is down. That gives you a little more of the ramen noodles to look at while my head is down. Forgive me again. And this, I have to log this new phone that I'm using with my premium because I have LJ, my wife's phone hooked up to this phone's premium. You're allowed 3 phone numbers, so I have to get that where there's no commercials. We're having some technical difficulty. We'll wait a sec. That P, don't be rude. It's a cash app. We don't mind a good troll, but be easy. Are we ready? How we
Let's see
doing?
what this.
Oh,
Let's see
okay,
what
good.
this is
I
about.
have it. I have it.
All right. Facebook stream is now closed. We are only live on YouTube. All right, man. So you said that basically when we peel back all the layers, the black woman is God. Before, I'm just repeating back what you said to let you know that I understood exactly what you said. You said, as you know, before we've adopted the thinking and ideologies of God, how we know it now, before that, or even if we take it away, we would see that the black woman is actually truly God. That's what you said, right? Okay. Now, where does the father, my question for you is, where does the man come in? Where does the father or the man come into this picture? The black man or any man? All right. Now, regards to the father is a social construct that has nothing to do with nature. So somebody made up this whole father aspect. Man
is something totally different. You grow into the man, but we go through stages in life to get to a man. So in regards to me, I had to go from an embryo, you know what I'm saying, to an infant, to a toddler, teenager, young adult, and then I graduated into a man. So when we're talking about those two terms, you know, you've got to go to get to a man. And then when you're talking about a father, there's nowhere that there's a father in nature. So a father would be unnatural. That's just something to compete with the woman.
Okay, so you're saying that the father is unnatural, but the woman is natural.
Correct.
Do I have that correct? And you're
Correct,
saying
correct.
the reason why, you really didn't give a reason why the father would be unnatural. So what's your reasoning that the father is unnatural? Explain, give me some logic, however you could,
Right.
you know,
the logic
put it
was
together.
the logic was nature. I said that there was not a father found in nature. There's nowhere in nature that you could find a father. You have
Okay.
a male, so at the end of the day, there's no father. Father is a social construct. That's something to put itself into existence to be opposite of the mother. But there's no such thing really as a father.
Can you explain how the father is a social construct?
It's a social construct due to the fact is you're talking about a label that's being placed on a man being a father. Can you be a father?
Are lions fathers to their cubs? Or they're just kings? Let's see what he got. Let's see what this guy got to say. Because I would think, isn't the mother the construct as well? Aren't they equally construct? If the father is something like, we're going to continue.
12 years old. That's a question that I'm asking you.
People have I mean, I think I had nut when I was 12 years old, man. So
Okay, so you had nut.
you could be a father when you're 12 years old. You could have definitely planted your seed in something. Yes.
So what's the difference between like a sperm donor and a person that's nutting at 12 years old into something? And I'm just asking you. I know it sounds weird, but it's just a question. You don't know what to do. You cannot father that baby. Yes, you have sperm.
Wow. This guy that hosts the show said he's been having sex since he was 12.
Mm.
Wow, that's really young.
With the puberty, you can give out the sperm, but fathering that baby is a whole totally different. Like I said, it's a label. It's a social construct that applies a definition that doesn't exist in nature. There are no fathers in nature. They don't do the same thing that we are told to do as men. You see what I'm saying? So now you're talking about what you're supposed to do as a father. But in nature, a mother is a mother. She already knows because she's carrying that child that she has a responsibility. What is our responsibility as fathers? That's a social construct. That's somebody telling us what our responsibilities is. But nature is not telling us that we have responsibility to take care of a child. Nature doesn't tell us that. So being a father is a social construct. Nature tells a woman she has a responsibility by giving her the ability to carry that child, create that child, manifest that child, birth that child. Nature is telling us that that is her responsibility. As a father, it's not telling us anything through our genetic makeup.
Yeah, so what I'm looking for from you is a logical response. Like 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. There's logic through it from cause to effects. You're saying that it's a social construct. I can truly explain what a social construct is if you ask me a question about a social construct. So you just said that, well, the father is a social construct, and I'm asking you how and why. And you said that, well, from nature. And I want you to explain specifically in detail what is the social construct that the man is a social construct. So pretty much there's only women. So here's another question. Forget about that. Let's just go with, do you think there's any differences between men and women?
It's kind of like you're trying to be condescending to the point where you have no comprehension. Like, you don't have no comprehension in what I'm saying to you in a response to the point where you can't fathom it. What do you mean?
No.
I don't understand what you. Then you go to the next question after you sit there and tell me that you didn't understand shit. Like,
No, not
we
understand.
gonna turn this into.
Not
Is
understand.
this some type of entertainment or something? I'm just asking you. I thought it was about the black woman as God. I don't know you. I didn't research you. I just
Totally
came over
fine.
here because. Okay. So what are we doing?
We'll speak in detail. What we're doing is having a discussion, man to man, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just said that the man is a social construct.
I said the father is. You're saying that the man is. Right.
Okay, let's
just things. You asked me about the man and the father.
Let's excuse it, right?
I'm just saying, you asked me about the man and the father. I gave you on both. I said you graduated to a man. You understand? Then I gave you the father. And then I spoke to you on how a father is not in nature. So I'm trying to understand. I said all that, and you tell me that I'm not explaining this.
Yeah, so I'll let you know. This is what I mean. This is what I'm looking for, right?
Oh, you're looking for something. So you have expectations. Okay,
I'm looking for an answer to the question. Now, well, pretty much what I'm saying is you didn't answer the question. So let me break it down for you.
Okay.
You said that the father is a social construct, right? I said, explain how the father is a social construct. You replied back and said, the father is a social construct because of nature. There's not anything in nature where a father is there. And then, okay, explain in detail. So do you know what a social construct is? I'll tell you what a social construct is. A social construct is not rooted in any nature. Is rooted you get what I'm saying? So
yes,
you can't have a social construct.
Something that society is making up. I don't think you know.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is how can you
constructive that society made up too much? Yeah,
what I'm saying is you contradict.
How did I not? Bro, nature, a father is not found. It's a social construct, meaning that it's something that is constructed socially. I don't understand. So you're saying that that's clarification. So because that was a contradiction I thought you were making. A social construct is something outside of nature, something that we constructed in our minds. You got it. You said that, and I said that, well, how isn't the father, well, why is the father a social construct? You said, well, that, because the father is, not from nature. And I want you to explain how isn't the father not from nature? That's what I want you to do. I want you to explain how it's a social construct and it's not from nature. Because here's what I'll tell you. Nothing grows unless a seed is planted. Nothing grows on this planet unless a seed is planted. And every man holds the seed in them. Every man holds the seed of life form. Life form in us. In your sack, if you have enough testosterone, but I know in my sack, I got at least 80 million of them little niggas moving around in there. You know what I'm saying? Most men do with a good amount of testosterone. So therefore we have seed and the life form starts there. You won't have a plant if you don't plant a seed first. So you saying that a father is a social construct is a lie is what I'm saying. Get to dispute the point that the father doesn't hold the seed. So we plant the seed in a woman and then life grows from that. Women bring about life. The life form is actually in a man. So explain to me again how the father is a social construct when the father holds the seed and a woman holds nothing but eggs. She's waiting for a seed. You don't make sense, man. Let me hear it. You haven't given me a chance to make sense. You're wrong. And you're wrong in a way to sit there and say that the sperm is a seed. How could you have seeds running up and through your body? That makes no sense. A seed is not a fucking tadpole with a tail. That's not a seed. So in regards to it, you're wrong. Now, if you're talking about an apple seed,
explain how I'm wrong, though.
Listen, an avocado seed or whatever the case may be, now we can get into the comparison on how the woman gives the man the whole body, the construct, the brain, the lungs, the face, the skin. She's creating a child within a womb. So she gives him the penis too. Did you forget that she gave him the sperm? The woman gives the man. Okay, I didn't interrupt you. You asked me to explain. Is this a back and forth? I'm being calm. I'm not interrupting you.
A little bit.
But I listened to you and I stopped it. I never stopped you. I thought I can go. Can I go?
Real quick, I'll let you go in a second.
Nobody wants to be interrupted. You're stopping my flow. You wanted to be understood. You said make it make sense.
I give it back to you. I'm sorry. I got you, buddy. So what I'm looking for, because the reason why I interrupt you for a reason, because you're not actually answering my questions.
You don't want me to.
Well, you're not actually giving any like root cause to anything. You're speaking in like forums almost. I want you to speak like specifics. Like,
so that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
This
so
is not kind of like a dialogue. This is based off of what you want me to do. Why do I have to do what you want me to do? How can I get you to understand if you want it understood your way, but I don't even know what your way is because you keep changing it to fit your narrative. So you don't want to get explained. You don't want to get convinced. Your thing is opposition. It's kind of like, this is some type of comedian thing. Like if you want to hear it, then hear it. Because before I got on here, you said you was going to obliterate. You made one little statement talking about the seed. Give me the rebuttal. Give me the chance to rebuttal the seed. And if anything, you can have opinions to actually understand.
Yeah, that's
so
what I'm asking.
Allow me to do it, sir. Allow me to do it.
You're not even, god dang, it's very simple, man. It doesn't take, 10 minutes to speak what's true. So you said something. You said that the seed, well, the man doesn't really, the seed doesn't come from the man. Like you're saying, but now you're not elaborating on the things that you said. So how doesn't the seed come from the man? Let's start there.
I was in the middle of it before you stopped.
Okay, so let's get there. Let's see if you can finish it up.
The man doesn't do anything. The man has pleasure with the woman. The man doesn't experience no 9 months. The man doesn't experience no shape shifting with his body. The man doesn't get the menstrual blood. The man doesn't do the birth, almost die on the hospital bed. The man doesn't go through none of that. There is no sacrifice with the man. It's just pleasure. So
can you explain in a scientific way, from a biological way, how doesn't a man hold the seed in the life form? You're just speaking, but I need you to peel back the layers of things and give facts. This podcast is called No Fugazi. So if I'm speaking, I'm always going to speak with facts. So here's a fact for you. The woman doesn't determine the sex of the baby. She has an X chromosome. The man holds the X and the Y chromosome, right? So here's science, right? So when a man has sex with a woman, he dictates the sex of the baby. So you just said, where do you get your where do you get a penis from? Where do you get this from? Where do you get that from? You get that from the man, since the man determines the sex of the baby. Do you get it? Women only hold the X chromosome, men hold the X and a Y. That's scientifically facts that proves that what you just said is nonsense, and men do dictate the sex of the baby. So if he's dictating the sex of the baby, let's...
Okay. Does a man dictate the sex of a baby?
The answer to that is yes. A man do dictate the sex of the baby. And as he correctly
and what
stated,
about what he was just saying? He said something. I really couldn't understand what he was saying. It was so like you know how when you're talking to girls to get laid and you start saying like just silly stuff. I want to, I just want to go back to Africa, and you know what I mean. I just want to stop all this hatred and this violence, and you know what I mean. Next thing you know, you're sleeping with some chick. She's like, oh, he's so intellectual. He just sounds like a
those two
fake
guys,
intellectual.
I think they're going back and forth, cutting each other off. But I do think he's not allowing this other guy to try to make his point. Not that he was answering it, and I don't think he gave him enough room to say what he had to say, and then ask him a very pointed question, because the question is, what role do men play? Because at the end of his conversation, it's almost as if men just have fun, and then I guess and that's just it.
Yeah,
So,
like they just run off and they just...
Yeah, that's it. It's just they just there to and there's no real role at all. So, and is he saying that? Does he really believe that? What's his background? Where he came from? Was he raised? How was he raised? Where he get his belief system from? Is he really doing any studying and stuff like that? But at the end of the day, the women do carry the XX, the men carry the XY. So the woman, and then they both have to give something. So, but all her eggs are X eggs. The guy's sperm carry either an X in it or a Y in it. So when those two get together, you either have an XX ovum or XY ovum. Okay. So if it's an XY, then you have a male. Yeah. So
clear back even further. That means that the man actually...
What was that?
No. So I say on that part of it, it is definitely on the guy, to dictate the sex on the child.
dictates how many men are going to be in this world, how many women are going to be in this world, how many women can. You get what I'm saying? And the list goes on and on. Your father dictated that you would have a beard. Your father dictated that you would have a beard and be a man, from what I could see. You get what I'm saying? Your mother didn't determine that, so you should be thanking your father, because your father truly created you.
And the question is, like, do you disagree?
Anything for that, man? Science.
No, the question to him would be like, okay, do you disagree? And that'd
Right.
be to be interested to see what he say.
Right.
You know.
Scientifically, can you dispute what I said?
You sound uneducated, like to the point where this is so level of surface to the point.
God dang, man. Okay,
How could you sit here? I'm just asking you, like, how could you sit here and tell me that my father gave me what? The child is not even a male or a female for the first 6 weeks. It's literally his mother. So when you women are conceiving a child, for the first 6 weeks, you don't have, what do you call it, an ultrasound. You don't have an ultrasound, but the simple fact that the baby is a female before it even turns into a male.
That's incorrect.
You women, that is not incorrect. That
Incorrect.
is true.
Listen, science now, you can know if it's going to be a boy or girl based off of the testosterone level. That's, we got to speak science now. You got to speak science. Real quick. I'm just correcting you real quick. That isn't though. Everyone can Google it. When a woman is pregnant with a baby, science can literally determine if she's going to have a boy or a girl within the first few weeks.
Is that true?
That is correct. But, you know, our guy with the white t-shirt, he's actually correct in that. The default is female. The default is female. You know, you need something extra to be male. So when there's certain conditions in which where those things don't come into play, you know, the person will grow. So if your Y factors don't come into play, you'll grow phenotypically a female. So in other words, you'll have female parts, even though you have the Y. So in other words, something special have to happen for you to carry and transition through as a guy. And he was about to get into testosterone and stuff like that. So they actually do play a part. But those very earlier weeks, you do start off as a female, but it's not as if like you asexual. It's just that those pieces haven't come into play yet. So it takes some time. So it's a pattern. So, but at the heart of it, it's what you got that made that spark. That union occurred. It was an XY. You a boy. So it didn't have to wait 6 weeks or anything like that for it to happen. We could determine that with ultrasound and stuff like that at about within that time frame. So we need that much time out. So it's not 6 weeks. We're talking about like 12 weeks or something like that. That's when you could start to look, when first with the ultrasound to try to determine what the sex. And I think it might even be a little bit later than that. But so then you could determine. But that's what we could determine. But if you could get into the actual cells and extrapolate the DNA, then you can see what we have, an X or a Y. And at that point, you'd be able to tell. So, what we have is two guys that know a little bit, that don't know a lot. And then if they're talking about this type of stuff with these type of omissions and mishaps, the more deeper conversation they're going to get into, it'll be completely flawed with all type of what I believe and what I heard as a little kid or whatever like that. So, because that other conversation about it, whether or not the black woman is God and so on and so forth, has very little to do with the biology. So they're talking about something completely different than what they're really trying to get at, which is a whole different realm. And I'm not sure, how much, what more they're going to get into, or if they're just going to stay on this biological talk, because whether or not he's actually going to ever really get to why he believes the black woman is God. But even then, if the logic process to get there, I'm not sure if he's going to say anything that's going to be really earth-shattering. But as it comes down to it, we've had folks that made those claims for a very long time now, that the black woman is God. And then we know some routinely recently We have a lot of guys say, black man is God. So what's the real truth? The real truth is we are beings. We are from this thing that we don't know what it is. We'll call it God. And to assume that either one of the sexes is the God is complete BS. And the only reason why we exist is because this thing that we are is trying to understand itself. And the only way it can understand itself is by dividing itself. So it can have itself interact amongst itself so it can understand itself deeper. And to complete a split. And then at some point, from all the different variation of trying to understand how great that we are or how split that we are, and to try to come back and try to get a better understanding. So, but at the heart of it, we are all this thing. So it separates itself initially, and it's choose to do it by this dichotomy way. So it is the positive and negative. It is the masculine. It is the feminine. We screw them up when we're trying to interchange them and trying to make them again. So in other words, we're trying to create, the God when we're trying to make everybody homogeneous. We split and we're made different for a reason. So we could have this experience. Women were born and have those natural tendencies, biologically and nature-wise, so they could be that way. And men, the way that they're supposed to be. So they could actually, have this interaction and have this experience that we call living. But now we're being so much trying to play in each other's bag because we think the other bag is better. But the truth is you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. So so at the end, we are both this thing that we call God. This thing that we call God is the ocean. And we're drops from that ocean. And the single drop by itself, you really can't do nothing. You'll probably just dry up unless, you could coalesce back with the ocean, So is she God? Yeah. Is he God? Yeah. Can life go on, without her? No. Can life go on without him? No. Is she detecting the sex of the baby? No. Is he detecting the sex of the baby? Yes. Could this baby grow up and be a man? No, not without her. So in other words, both parties are necessary. And we've gotten to a space now in 2024, and what we're doing is like these two guys there, they're going back and forth with each other, trying to, argue a point that's actually pointless. Because at the end of the day, no one can push forward. And then guess what? If he wins the argument, guy on the right, so what? Black women walk around like they're gods and stuff like that and so on and so forth. That shit doesn't work. So if the guy on the left, he wins the argument, God, man, black man is God and so on and so forth, but everybody got their foot on your neck. God, so what does that mean? So the truth is we're both losing, and realize that you're going to be kept with the foot on your neck unless you realize the black man, black woman, white man, white woman, whatever it is, you ain't going to get nowhere unless you can actually coalesce and actually form that union and forget if it's, black man, black woman, white man, white woman. It's that man, that woman, you're the team. And if they start to make you feel on your own side, you already lost,
Oh.
Now, the funny thing is, you got two guys arguing about, who's the God, the woman, the God of God. Like, so that's how far we've gone, But I'm curious. I don't know how did they end up? What did they end up saying?
I only watched a few minutes and I said, I got to do this show with you. So let's see what this is going.
What do you think?
You don't want to have this conversation.
Well, I know this guy here, he'll kick you off his show if you're not answering his questions or letting the show flow the way he wants. So he's quick to kick you off.
You're about to kick this guy off.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Are you are you intimidated or something? Is something wrong with you, bro? You have a problem?
Come on, man.
I'm asking you. It's got to be something, bro. Something wrong with you.
Come on, man.
You not allowing me to decent respect. I came over here. I'm thinking that you was gonna give some type of respect. What is this? I'm not speaking soft. I'm asking. I can't speak for less than 30 seconds. You don't listen. I don't have to approve to you. Like, I don't understand. What is this? What is this? Explain.
It's very simple. You're a man.
Am I wasting my time? Am I wasting my time?
No, listen. You're a man that has a perspective, right? And you have a belief system.
It's not a belief system. I'm trying to explain it, and every time I do, you get it off.
I will let you, but
So
the things that you said that is unfactual is not true.
Females. All males are females before they turn into a male based off the decision of the mother. Every male can look at their actual scrotum sac and see a line from the bottom of their scrotum sac to the tip of their penis. All male. That means you were sold up. Your testicles are nothing but your ovaries. Your penis is nothing but an elongated clitoris. At the end of the day, you're nothing but an inside-out female. I'm sorry.
Okay. I did hear this. I heard up to this before. What is that? What he's talking about? The line that goes in the middle of you,
No,
like.
so we are human beings first. So we come from this package. So in other words, you know how they may say, you know, they got this car and it's built off the other platform of this other car. So the human platform is the human platform. So, you know, our chest is what our chest is, you know, but for a woman, it's going to grow fat cells under and get protrude and have the duct cells for milk and so on and so forth. You know, so what the women have as ovaries is what we have as testicles. Okay, you know what women have as a clitoris is what we have to actually elongate to become our penis and stuff like that. So that's fine, that's okay, but in no way does that mean the woman decides that what's going to turn or not happen with you. So that doesn't play a role, you know. So
what is this guy? He's just like, did he read one of those like pamphlets or books, and now he's like hook, line, and sinker? Is like, what is this like? Is he a feminist or something? Is this is he some sort of
you know what?
feminist?
I don't know. You know, it'd be interesting to find what this guy background is, or maybe this is just, you know, that's how he get all his girls. You know, I'm not sure.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking this is that kind of
fact.
What?
It's certainly not rooted in facts.
Okay. Because just because it's true doesn't mean it means what he means.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I saw up to that part. I said, "This is our topic."
No, because you know, so some of that stuff, you know, on the surface, you know, there's some truth to it. Like, well, yeah, we all start out as, you know, the default is feminine, is female, basically. You know, so like in other words, if you lose your testosterone and stuff like that, all that stuff that makes you male, you know, cease to make you male. You know, so in other words, you know, your voice will soften, you'll get a little bit softer, all those things will start happening. And as they talk about, you know, they trying to feminize the world and stuff like that, a lot of the foods and things like that and the pesticides, all those things into estrogen-like products. So when we talk about, you know, the world being feminized like that, so that's kind of like where some of that stuff is coming from. Yeah,
definitely.
Sorry that this man has never been told that, and he doesn't understand that he was made in the likeness and the image of his mother. I'm sorry that before anybody ever told him anything, his mother was there. Your mother is literally the only thing that you know in life. You don't even know what that's your father, but your mother knows if it's your father or not. You know everything about your mother because that's where you came from. That's your first home. That's your first origin. The black woman has always been considered God, even before the patriarch took over and started to actually make a male God. But it was never a male that was being God. It was always the woman. In Islam, it was the woman. In the Catholic Church, it was the woman. In ancient Egypt, it was the woman. In Samaria, Mesopotamia, Babylon, it was the woman. Phoenicia, it was the woman. Chaldea was the woman. But if he doesn't know that, that means he's not reading. And I'm telling you, I'm trying to respond to the man. Even to the point where if a woman is making up your whole total makeup, And she's using her menstrual blood to do it within her womb. That's why you women don't bleed for 9 months. You literally correlate a child in your womb. What does the man have to do with it? Is the man shooting blood in your woman, or is he literally giving you his DNA via his sperm? So when you're actually making this baby in your womb, you're using your blood. That's why you don't bleed for 9 months. When that baby comes out, that is the product of its mother. So the baby literally develops through life. As the baby develops through life, we get to puberty. That's when our body chemically starts to actually make the sperm in our body. But it came from our mother. Everything comes from your mother. You get it from your mother. Your mother is your God. Your father is not your God. The sperm in his body comes from his mother. Where do you think we got our body from? You didn't make this. You don't have nothing to do with your face. You don't have nothing to do with your hair and none of that. Your mama gave it to you. She birthed you. How could you sit there and say that she's not your God? Your mother was God before you was taught about God. Somebody had to tell you about God in order for you to believe that.
I mean, I say this respectfully, but I think he's getting a lot of pussy with this bullshit. Like
No, he is.
this sounds like just straight pandering. Like,
Yes.
whoa, now you're going too far. Like, really,
Yeah, I
sir?
mean, it's like, it's hard for you to believe it yourself. But, um, I guess if you try to stretch your mind, you can be like, oh, well, really? But the thing is, but none of that stuff is really factual at all, to the point that, a mother could actually have a child, and the child biologically is so different from her. If she had like something that's kind of ruptured and there's mixing of blood, they have to give her something that we call Rogam, so it could stop her from, if she has a next child, that say if that next child is the same thing, then because she was exposed to that other blood type before, her body will attack and destroy that child, that fetus that's inside of her.
In the miscarriage.
So in the miscarriage, basically.
Right,
So that means I'm saying all that she's developing inside of her could be completely opposite from what she is. You know.
right,
So,
right, right,
well, not
right.
completely opposite, but opposite enough that she'll create antibodies against it. Yeah.
Whoa. So she's not in
So
that much control like you think.
no, no, and
And
she's not making the baby out of her blood and none of that type of stuff. That's not what's happening.
someone, what's up, T Rilla? He says hello, Doc. And then we have
Hey, what's up?
Unwind Time says it's not common, but in some cases, some women can still have their cycle while pregnant.
That's absolutely correct. That's true. Matter of fact, let's take it a step further. We have a lot of women that they'll continue to have their cycle. So I guess this is really talking to the point that they're not using their blood to make the child and stuff like that. But yes, so most women, they'll continue to have their some no, not most. Um, a handful of women will continue to have their cycle while they're pregnant. But that just all has to do with hormones and stuff like that. And you women, what they'll do is um, it depends on whether or not they're conceiving or there was a conception. So when the eggs were fertilized, if it was fertilized, then their hormones would stay up, and then there would be no, there's no shedding of the lining. The lining is the blood buildup that's there. That's actually there to provide nutrients and stuff like that. Nutrients meaning the oxygen and stuff like that, so it can actually get its stuff going. So if there's not a pregnancy, then the hormones kick in, and then that blood goes. But after that initial couple of days with the thing, then placenta's formed, and that's kind of like a barrier that's trying to get the nutrients, the nutrients that's needed, the oxygen that's needed, through that barrier, and try to get it to the fetus.
Mm. And the
Yeah,
placenta is what they're using to fight cancer.
yeah, they're doing all type of stuff because all those new cells that have the ability to change and be something different, they start from there. Well, they start from within that embryo, but the
Right,
placenta, yeah.
right.
But what I was getting ready to say is, so some women do actually do that. I don't know why this point came to my mind, but for some reason, on the flip side, we have some women and talking about how powerful the brain is. We have some women who, I'm not sure if you've heard this before. A woman want to be pregnant so bad. She's been thinking about having a child. She want to have a child. She's with this guy that she want to be pregnant for, whatever. And she's thinking about this so hardly and so deeply that she actually starts to have morning sicknesses and feeling nauseous and thrown up in the morning. And then, guess what? Her belly might start to pop out, and then she might start missing her menses. And she swears she's
Really?
pregnant. Everybody she's pregnant. But you take a urine test, she's not pregnant. So listen. So I tell you what, they could certainly have the mental capacity, to make it seem like they're having a child. But there's no
Wow.
child. You need both a man and a woman for it to occur.
Right.
And then
It's
we have a couple of
crazy.
guys in Congress that say they could be mothers and stuff like that. They're just as delusional.
Yes. This is it's kind of crazy. I was just
Yeah.
looking at something earlier where the guy is doing street interviews and he's interviewing people and he's asking the question, can a man have a child? And it's like 75% of these people coming up, or he asked, said yes, that science is allowing men to have children. This is the consensus going on in the minds of the people. I need to do some street interviews and ask that question. Can a
I
man
find it
have a
hard to
child?
believe that people would say yes. But we
Over 50 people on the show say yes.
it's the sign of a fallen society.
Mm. It's the
And that's and
sign of a
unfortunately that's
fallen society when you
yeah,
just don't even believe in what's natural or what's supposed to be will be. You
right.
check, they believe that. I guess these are science people. Like people just think, oh, scientists could do that. They could put a baby in a man. I mean, I don't know how the baby's gonna come out. I guess the argument would be they get a C-section. But then there's
No,
no umbilical cord. Like, come on. Like,
no.
where,
Well, I mean,
where,
the thing is,
go ahead.
if you know, and this let's not confuse science, and possibilities. So if you could incubate, a lamb and make a goat in a test tube, if that technology exists, then you can make a baby in a test tube. Now, if you decide to take said test tube and put it inside somebody's, orifice, that's just nonsense that you're just playing around with, you know. But have it, but what we're talking about, let's be clear. So this is where we have to stop playing games. If a man saying that he get pregnant and have a baby, that means you say you get pregnant and have a baby. Really. Not somebody putting a test tube in you, and so that's BS.
Wait,
Are you
could
naturally able to do this? Mm-hmm.
could they put a test tube inside of a male?
No. I mean, I'm using the conjecture that if we could get there, obviously, it wouldn't be ethical or anything like that as far as where we at now. But this is the type of stuff that we float that we'd never accept now, but in 100 years, like, well, it's an idea. You know, um, 150 years ago, the idea of you, if you got to 35, 40, you didn't have a child, that was it. It was done. Now women at 33 are being encouraged, like, hey, listen, why don't you just put your eggs away for something to happen later? You know, so all these are kind of like unnatural stuff that scientists have kind of like
Mm,
let you kind of get away with. Um, it's allowing us to be something different than what we're actually meant to be.
mm. Yeah, this is a great show. I'm loving this episode today. Oh my goodness.
Now, in your mind, that's God. But what if your mother knew she was God? She would teach you about God. How can a man be a God when he cannot produce life? A man cannot sustain life. He does not have breast milk.
Got you. You done or are you still going?
No, go ahead, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm respectful. So if you want to go and respond, you can go.
Okay. So, I mean, everything you said was just nonsense. It didn't make any sense. It didn't correlate to anything.
Which part?
One didn't add up.
Which
So
part?
here's
Like I said, condescending. Which part? Which part was
I'm gonna
nonsense?
tell you, right? You said something that was false. You said that and you're looking at it wrong. So I'll break it down to you in detail how a child is conceived in this world and how it actually goes. You're missing things, right? Men hold the X and the Y chromosome. I'm going to speak science to you. Facts. I'm not things that I'm making up or anything that someone, I read off someone's trying to sell me something. I'm not trying to sell any dreams. This is all proof.
Condescending, right? Condescending, but you don't have any condescending. That's what you keep trying to do. Yeah, I understand it. You can understand that the Y chromosome is literally a defective X chromosome. That's why men are less than women. That's why we can't produce.
Correct.
That's why we don't have breast milk. That's why we don't have a period. That's why our ovaries are testicles. How? What is the Y? Everybody put up a Y. If you take an X, if you put up an X and you take a Y off, it's a defective chromosome.
I got you, man. So here it goes, right? Everything that you said was just incorrect, and I'll explain why it's incorrect. Okay, so currently, let's go with the first step. Currently, it's crazy that we've been having this conversation, how you don't understand like basic logic and facts. A kid knows this. You don't even have to read things. A kid knows this. You get what I'm saying? So here's what it is, right? When the egg meets the sperm, I'm sorry, when the sperm meets the egg, got it?
Okay.
It's time that it takes that the child is forming in the womb. The man determines if he's going to pass his Y gene over to the woman. The woman doesn't determine that because she has it. It takes two X's to make a woman, and it takes a X and a Y to make a man. If the woman only has two X's, then how can she make a boy? It doesn't make sense. Let me finish. The man then carries, based off whichever sperm cell makes it there, carries his X chromosome to the woman. So with the woman's X and the man's X, guess what? That will create a girl. If the sperm makes it that has a Y, the woman already has an X, then that's a Y and an X. That will create a girl. The woman only has an X chromosome, the man has the X and a Y. So logic tells you that the person that has two and not one, the person that can dictate both genders, well, obviously it will be the person that has the X and a Y, not the person that just has the X. So if we could just speak about it and think about it logically, where you're incorrect. Then when you said that, well, sometimes it takes a while, like when a baby is in a womb, it's very hard to see if it's going to be a boy or a girl. That's incorrect. Science has improved. We're in 2024. Within just a few weeks, you can know if you're having a boy or a girl based off the estrogen levels in the mother or the testosterone levels in the mother. If the mother has increased testosterone.
Is that true?
No, I don't think so. No,
Oh.
it's not that.
A
We have
couple of
other
weeks.
things that we.
What's that amniocentesis he's talking about, right?
So he's talking about just taking the blood level, and if her estrogen level is up versus testosterone level up, I don't think that's going to feed back to what's happening with the infant inside. So I don't think it really plays that type of role. But there is levels of other stuff that we call luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormones. Those levels could play a role, but they use a combination of that, the ultrasound, to get a feedback of what we're dealing with. And they'll, with pretty good certainty, they'll be like, well, you're having a boy or having a girl. Because
Well, he's saying 2 weeks.
No, that's what I was saying. I don't think it's going to be a couple of weeks. So my
wait, a couple weeks. That still sounds like 2 weeks.
No, I'm saying I think if I would say we're looking at the end of the first trimester, so we're looking at 12 weeks or so.
Oh, 12 weeks. 12. I'm sorry. Right.
Levels, that's a high indicator that it will be a boy. If the mother has more increased estrogen levels, that will be a high indicator that it will be a girl. And this is just within the first few weeks. You get what I'm saying?
Ovaries have to drop, bro.
What are you talking?
Why are you making up stuff?
I mean, I just had a kid, bro. My kid is 1 year old. I knew that the little nigga was gonna be a boy when he was just a few weeks.
Okay, so you had a child. So in regards to, let's
Do you
talk
have
about
any
it.
kids?
In regards to
Do
having
you
a
have
child.
any kids?
Yes, sir. In regards to having a
That's
child.
good. So you're a father. Good. Go ahead.
In regards to having a child, the doctor, the maid nurse, or whatever they call it, what do you call it, the maid servant, the doctor, or whatever will tell you, or the nurse, they will let you know that if you're having a male child and there's any complications, they're going to actually start to panic. Because male children are weaker than female children when coming into this world. It takes more for a woman to create herself or replicate herself or reproduce herself than it does for her to make this creation because of the less genetic material. The male has less genetic material than the female. The mother is the one that determines everything. I'm not sure where he's getting this from. That makes no sense. How can the father or how can this person that's disseminating her determine anything? He's not creating a child. How can he determine what goes on in that woman? He doesn't. At the end of the day, the woman is the manifester. She's the one manifesting the child. She has full capability and full control of manifesting a child. The man cannot create a child. So therefore, you cannot say that you're wrong. You know you're wrong. And you don't find out the child's gender until the child is 6 weeks and you go get an ultrasound. There is no ultrasound in 2 weeks. You said a few weeks. There is no ultrasound in 3 weeks, man.
You cannot say the ultrasound.
All right. I'm not a woman.
That is a fact.
Tell you that.
Yeah, no, that is a fact. You can do it before the ultrasound now. We're in 2024, man. Science picked up their game. So
I'm like,
also,
why these guys attacking each other so much? You know, it's too much, underhanded banter and, that type of
Right.
stuff. It'd be better if you just go and make your point and make your point. Um, but somebody said it, I don't know, said it best. It's like, hey, they're throwing some fox in there with a whole lot of nothing. So, I agree with that.
You saying in the chat?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
IDK said that's what they do. They mix in some facts and a whole lot of nothing.
right.
Right.
No, so
Unwind Time says, I'm trying to understand his point, but he makes it sound like women don't even need a man to reproduce. Maybe I'm understanding incorrectly.
I'm not sure if he really understands what he's saying, or I don't know if this will get some points from somewhere because it seems a little bit overboard. Even the folks who kind of like believe that even goes beyond that because at this point he's pretty much saying he said it in such a way that I'm not even sure he gets, the guy's point about the X and the Y chromosome because he's talking about, a man don't dictate, what happens in the woman's body. He's not dictating what happens in her body. He's dictating what's happening with that, with that embryo that's being created.
Right.
That has nothing to do with her body. Her body is going to do what her body does, and if her body is able to carry and provide sustenance to to house an embryo, then it'll do that, and the embryo will grow. If it doesn't, then So this is what we have. Our um, our ladies are like fertile soils, and then you have the men that are kind of like seed. And the idea is you need to find good quality soil so your seed can go in so it could grow. And the seed that's in there is going to be what that is. So in other words, if that guy's an apple seed, she's going to make some apple seeds along with the type of nutritions that she has. So that is going to depend the type of apple that child is going to be. So it's not as if he's going to come in there, put a seed in there, and she's going to grow, and and he's an apple, but she's going to make a pear, tree. That doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
She manipulates what that seed is going to be based off what her foundation is. So that's why it behooves him to make sure he knows what kind of soil he's going to get, and on her end to make sure what type of seed that she's going to be growing. So.
Well said. Well said. Let me ask this of you. Do you ever hear conversations like this? you being a doctor, did you get to hear these kind of conversations about the man and the Y chromosome, who gets to pick, who is the fertile, who's the most in charge in this process? Do you ever hear this kind of stuff?
Not really. Um, I can't say I've never heard it, but I can't even. And I'm trying to think where I heard that before, but I can't even really think of where. But
Mm,
it's come up before, but I can't even think of what arena though. Yeah, but
right. Like, is this just an internet thing? Is my question.
I think it is. I think it's banter. I think you have one guy caping for the manosphere, and you have the other guy pandering, and then they both looking for points.
Right. You got one
You know?
fighting for this manosphere. I'm sure he'll
Right.
deny that. And that's
Hmm.
Coolio, I believe his name is, the host of the show. He's really good. I like him a lot. A woman just threw a drink on him. I saw that happening. I saw her get up with the drink, and I knew she was going to throw it on him. Is that because of my years in the bar business and club business? Probably. He kind of like slept on it, and she just hit him in the face with her drink, and he just sat there. And he said, "Have
Hmm.
a good night." And really, I really wish I was like that.
I'm like,
I
yo, you gonna mess around, make me lose my whole podcast.
were, yeah. There might have been some furniture.
That made me fuck my whole. But and this is the key. You know, um, you have to, you got to be prepared for that, and this is why you know, um, success, truth, money, and broke, don't mix. you know and the thing about it is that
Mm,
it puts you in a space and spot. The thing is, she knew she could get there, and one or two things is going to happen. She's going to get away with that nonsense, or she's going to be able to try to sue for some crap.
oh
you know
yes,
the only other way you could do it, and even then you still are held liable, because even if you had a brolly chicken there just in case some girl gets, she could just jump on him. She's still gonna sue and try to say the security did something to her. you
yeah,
know but you know it's so it's kind of like a sad situation. And so, and I guess depending on how popular his show is, he's probably doing a little bit of change on that. And you know all that stuff. And this is the problem. When you're doing well, you know the only risk around you is to pull you down. So all these people that he have, and I guess that's probably why he's starting to do some lives, like he have them on camera, because of that type of stuff don't happen. Because I guess his style is to instigate the situation, and
yes,
kind of like and do
yeah.
that condescending thing or whatever like that. And the truth is, most of especially the girls now, the women now, they're so emboldened, and they got all this
Mm,
emotion. They're gonna want to do something, and and they're gonna act like they're gonna throw a drink. They're gonna do something silly, um, and if they don't have the right type of host, um, they catch the wrong host, they're going to have a problem. But they've
yeah,
been raised in a society where they could get away with most of that stuff, and it's
right.
usually tragic, because on one end they mostly get away with it, and once in a while they'll come across somebody who laid them out, and then it's like it makes World Star or some shit, or they lose their life because they come across somebody who doesn't play that, you know. So.
Well said. That's a fact. Yeah, I admire the man. He's better than me. I admire Coolio. He's better than me. But I would have saw the drink. I would have saw that
You'll
happening.
say, but the
I'd have,
thing is, in a situation like that, you can see it coming from a mile away. So now she's already in her feelings. She's mad. So she gets up. You see the drink in her hand. So she's going to either act like she's on her way out. Like, so is it like, just get up and be like, because she's still going to throw it. So it's like you put yourself in that. That's the whole thing.
right.
The problem was you're a successful guy who have a dingbat on your show.
Yeah, and then he didn't put her in the picture. he only puts the pretty girls, he said, on the picture. And she's like, yeah, I'm upset because you didn't put me in the thumbnail. And he was like, well, I only put the pretty girls in the thumbnail. You can get out.
Oh, so that's what did it?
So he took, I don't know if that's what did it, but that was part of it, She was
No, I
harboring.
mean, it built in. It built because come on. Could you imagine? Like, yo, that's a body blow for real. So you
Right,
on the show. So, and I don't even know because she probably thought she's gonna get somebody who's gonna pander to her a little bit or try to stroke
right.
it a little bit, and he laid her out.
Yeah,
Like, yo, babe, I put, real pretty girl thumbnail. So that
right,
just finished
right.
her.
Yeah, he's pretty good. His style is a little bit like Fresh and Fit, but Fresh and Fit, respectfully, they're two cornballs that figured out a system and they keep working that system, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, he seems less of that. He seems like, I know he has a wife and two children, and his show's pretty good. He co-hosts with a friend or two every now and then, but he
Mm-hmm.
usually keeps about 4 or 5 women, and they talk about relationships. And he uses this word that I like a lot, propensity. And so he has his own style, and I like it. I like it. I've seen about at least 10 hours, 15 hours of his stuff in the last month or so. So he's pretty
Okay.
good. Let's just
Okay.
watch a little
Okay.
more before we move on.
Let's speak about
Hmm.
some actual facts here. So, scientists, guess what science can do now, right? So, science can actually, I'll tell you what they can do and what they can't do. So, what they can't do, this is all studies that I've researched that you can research too if you have access to Wi-Fi and Google.
So you're saying research the studies about what they can do. Are you there? Did you see them do it? You said you just had a baby, right? So what happened with your ultrasound? You just had a 1-year-old.
I'll
So at the end of the day,
explain it.
talk to it. Go over your experience.
Yeah. So life doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work with you just having a 1-year-old?
Life doesn't work how you
When did you get your ultrasound, bro? Just tell everybody when you got your ultrasound.
Life doesn't work just based off of your own subjective experience.
You're the one that brought it up. You said you got an ultrasound. You have a 1-year-old
as well. Yes.
Okay,
so I can talk about my own experience, or I can talk about what I've also researched as well, right? And everyone knows this. A little kid can, look at this. And school, this is what they teach, because they don't teach the stuff that they teach you. The stuff that you're talking about, in any universities. It doesn't work because it's like nonsensical. It doesn't add up. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. And
I mean, you can try it. You can try it, but you literally sound
here goes, right? So science currently right now, what they can do is they did it in mouses. So it was a male mouse. First, I'll tell you what they can't do, and then I'll tell you what they can't do. What they tried to do, here's what they can't do. They can't make a baby. They can't create a baby out of the woman's genome from humans and in animals as well. They can't create they can't make her an asexual being, meaning that she's able to reproduce without the male sex counterpart. They tried it many ways. The only way that they can do it is by taking the seed, the sperm, from another male human or another male animal, right? Because first I'm talking about the study. Let's just talk about the study that I'm talking about. It was with mouses. So they took, the only way they could do it is take the males, right? You got the female here, right? What they do is they take the male seed, sperm, out of the male, and then they put it into the female mice, right? The natural way of it happening is the male mice and the female mice having sex together. The unnatural way is where they take the seed out of the male mice and implant it into the womb of the female mice, right?
And
Let me finish. Let me finish. That's the only way. No, I'm not.
Why don't you just say
listen, buddy. All right, I'll let you speak. There's no such thing as parthenogenesis.
there's no such thing.
Parthenogenesis creates tumors in humans. I've defeated the other guy on this. It's nonsense.
Are you kidding me?
It creates tumors. Only lizards and certain cake bees. It's only
woman
left
has
can
been
be.
creating.
But let me finish, buddy. I got
The
you.
woman was created way before man came along, bro. I don't think that you
I'm gonna
understand. Do
explain
you
it in a
understand how
scientific
life?
way.
Do you understand about this?
This guy just said the woman has been creating way longer before the man was even here. That's bizarre. Where did he hear that? What pamphlet did he read?
Understand the matriarch? Do you understand women were producing women on their own for a long time prior
There
to the
hasn't been
existence
a
of man?
matriarchy that stood the test of time. But I'll let you speak. Calm down, buddy. Okay, just relax. Let me finish, and I'll land my plane. I got you. I'm gonna give it to you. Okay, I'm gonna give it to you. So, as I was saying, this was the situation. The only way to get the female mouse pregnant is to take the seed from the male mice. So that's the only way the female mice can reproduce. You got me. Within a man, and I don't like it. This is something that I don't like, but it is the truth. What they did just discover was that in a man, they couldn't do it in a female because the female don't hold the X and the Y chromosome. But in the man, since he holds the X and the Y chromosome, what they did was they they changed the Y chromosome from the man and made it an X, and gave it a womb, gave it a actual womb. A mouse had an actual created the womb inside of another mouse, and then within that same mouse, they inserted its own seed because it was a male. They inserted its own seed, right, that it already had in them, right? Its own seed, and they didn't even insert it because it's already in there. But they just moved some things around it inside its own mouse. The mouse then got pregnant and gave birth asexually. But in any female mices, they couldn't do that because the woman doesn't have any any Y chromosomes. So that means that they don't have any seed, any life form in them. So it proves my point even further that even science tells us that, well, if life came from anywhere, scientifically, the only way we could do it to have another to create an asexual being, it would only be through a man. So this proves the biblical point, meaning that woman came from man. Do you get it? It's not the other way around. The man didn't come from the woman. Do you understand now? So scientifically, it already proved the Adam and Eve story. So
I don't like the fact that he didn't name the study. That kind of
No,
bothers me. I have you ever heard of this study about the male
no,
mouse?
I haven't heard that study, and it's certainly there's more to that study than what he's saying because um, at the end of the day, you need to have. Here are the thing. At the end, these are makeshift, you know, reproduction of test tube babies, and whether or not they're incorporating a little bit more biology into it, that's what it is. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about test tube babies, and you know, I don't really want to give that too much life because this is this is the direction they want to tiptoe society in. They want to march us down that road, you know, to the point where we were talking about this the other day that you're going to have to pull out an application so you can say you want to have a child, you know,
Right.
and then you could be a man on a cubicle by yourself, and they're going to hand you a test tube baby, or if you're a woman, you're going to hand you a test tube baby, and that's only going to happen for a couple of years. They're going to shut that down, and then they're just going to say, well, we need 10 more thousand for this society, and then they're going to make them like cars, so this is what we're allowing ourselves to head to. And we say that sounds completely crazy. How could we ever get there? But if 100 years ago they'd say that we are here where we at with our level of liberty and bondage, they want to believe we're where we at now. So we're certainly heading in those directions, and it starts about what we're seeing, and what we have to recognize is social media is the new TV, you know. And in the past, we used to think that TV was mirroring life, and that might have been true in the very beginning. How most things are true in the very beginning, but they're very quickly taken and manipulated. Because soon after those very early years in TV, when you go back to those very early clips, you'll find some decent information because people were eager to really share the truth of what's happening. So you heard a lot of things that you would have never heard. There was a lot more forthcoming, during the earlier days. But after that, it switched. The manipulation started. And now, most of the folks that's in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, they came out of a generation where TV wasn't mirroring life anymore. You know, TV was put in place so they could mirror TV. So they thought that this was happening around the world, but it wasn't really happening around the world. It was happening in TV, trying to redirect the way you saw life and think about life and how you think you're supposed. They redefined what masculinity is. They redefined what femininity is. They redefined all those things and all those roles and stuff like that. So me, as a Black person, one of the shows I think everybody could identify with was like with the Cosbys. That was the show. But then we would immediately glorify that as that being a very good show, okay show. But long before that, and specifically then, the manipulation tactics were already in play. The undermining was already in play. When you look at the Cosby, you look at that family. What you had was Claire Huxtable, who was a working woman, who undermined Cliff, kind of tell him what to do, try to boss him around, stuff like that. And she completely eviscerated, her son-in-law. So this was like the best example that was being created to be emulated. So what I'm saying is that, so that's one thing. So we're talking about how the media and TV back then, served the role for us to imitate then. The same thing is going on now with social media. So now all these talks are talking points to lead us down a direction. Because the more they have this conversation, the more divisive it is, and the more it's becoming, well, it's us, it's them, and so on and so forth. So everybody goes sit in their own cubicles, which makes this idea becomes an even more apparent thing that needs to happen. Because if I ain't effing with them and they ain't effing with me, I need to have my own child or whatever. So that's the reprieve in between. Well, you could have your own child, so you don't really need the other sex. Yeah, you put in the application and it will give you a baby. Yeah, that goes on for 50 years until they shut that shit down.
Let me ask you this. Could they create an artificial womb to grow the baby in and just have it I was just totally like cloned?
Yeah, that's a test tube baby. Yeah. They do that with goats and crap like that now. The thing is, it's not ethically feasible, but the reason why these conversations are out is because to make it more okay. To create, the need and the desire for it. To get to the point where they say, well, you know what? We're going to clone you. We're going to make you another you. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
So let me say this. Are we then feeding this algorithm by us doing this show, by them doing that show, by the guy asking the people in the streets, can a man have a baby? Are we then the Claire Huxtable of our times?
Yes.
Right.
And the thing is, the best it could do is to maybe have the conversation in this sense and shed some light on it over all this darkness. But the thing is, the good thing is, a little bit of light could make a difference. But
what? Say that again. What could make a difference?
A little bit of light could make a difference in this vastness of darkness. But the truth is, you if you have a flashlight and you at sea, if the boat drift far enough away, you don't even see the flashlight anymore. So But we're gonna do what we could do with our
If the
7
if the
people, 10
boat
people.
drifts far enough away, you don't see the flashlight anymore. I
Right.
like that. That's
Yeah.
fire. Because then
Yeah.
you're just a guy standing in darkness with a little
Yeah.
light in your hand, and it doesn't have anything to bounce off of, so it's emptiness. I
Yeah.
love that.
So and
I
the
love
thing
that analogy.
sometimes we feel like sometimes that's how we feel, But hey, you know, but I tell you, we say this a lot of times, you know, um, we could do almost anything. We could kill somebody and we could pay our debt to society and we'll be forgiven. The one thing that you'll never be forgiven for is to tell the truth to somebody who's not willing to hear it or didn't want to hear it. They will forever hate you. So if the price, if the price of telling the truth is being hated on, so be it. You know, um, but uh, but that's where it's at.
I don't know if we need to hear any more of this. Maybe we'll give it like another 2 minutes and see. But
I agree. I agree.
this is like this is what's that when it's just going around and round and round and round and round and round. And
Yeah, it's a circular story. I don't think they've really gotten off from their initial point. Really, they still, they dancing around each other, throwing jab at each other. It's almost like two bad raised women, going at each other a little bit.
I did. It was a little. It was a little sassy, a battle of the sass.
Yeah.
Even though I understand what Coolio is doing. This is a business, so he
Yeah.
has to approach this intellectually, and he has to approach it with entertainment, and he has to, in his mind, um, almost tear down the other person
Mm-hmm.
and obliterate the other person. So
Yeah, and that's good. But I think I guess there's a knack and there's a tact for it, and um, it seemed like he came on too strong, too early, unnecessarily. You know,
mm,
I kind of feel like he attacked the guy right from the door, kind of cut the guy off, and so I don't know. It's like um, allow him to say enough mistakes, and then ask very simple questions. So and I don't think he ever kind of like really let that
yeah,
happen to a point where I almost feel like he was a little bit too dismissive in the beginning, and he kind of like got the same type of energy from the guy, and then it just
right.
became a shit, it became a crazy show. So
Yeah, it comes across like these guys are about to start cursing each other out any second.
yeah,
That's what it feels like. That's what it
this is
feels
silly.
like.
Story, scientifically. I'll break it down to you again, because I don't, your audio is off. So check your audio. I can't hear you.
Okay. Is it my turn?
No, not yet. I got you. Give me a few
So you
seconds.
gonna break it down again?
I already broke it down, and I'll just say it concisely since I had to explain.
Are you
So this is what I'm saying.
Are you serious? I'm asking. Are you
Let me.
serious?
I'll let you go, buddy. I'll let you go, my friend. Listen.
When, Noah? When?
Yo, have some.
You just told us the
I was
whole
patient
story.
with
I
you.
can't rebuttal your story about a mouse being a male mouse.
I was
being
patient with
pregnant,
you, man. So
they
here's
added
all
an
I'm saying.
chromosome to the
All I'm
male
saying
mouse,
is
and the male mouse got pregnant.
scientifically.
Now what the fuck is wrong with you?
I mean, you're saying that the black woman is God. What's wrong with you?
Ah,
Nigga,
ah, ah,
with
ah.
I can't even explain it. I can't even explain it.
everything
Your
is.
mother's a god. They look like your mother created you.
I can explain the things that I'm speaking about from a
You're
scientific
not.
way that
You're
originally
telling a
comes from
story
the
about
Bible.
a mouse. You're
That
telling a
literally
story
comes
about a
from the
mouse.
Bible. You can't explain anything scientifically. You're just speaking about how you feel. You sound like one of these chicks I have on a podcast, bro. You're speaking from a very feels basis, emotionalism.
So what is the mitochondria? So does the man have the mitochondria DNA? Yes or no?
You answer that, my friend, because you don't know anything.
The mitochondria of DNA is only actually passed on from the female mother
Woman.
to the daughter. That's what keeps the lineage growing. That makes up 80% of the cell in the body. He said scientifically. The mitochondrial DNA gives all the energy to the cell to keep it going.
What does that mean?
You wouldn't be
You're talking about the effects. You're talking about the effects, not the cause.
They call it the Eve gene. You don't want to hear it.
Incorrect.
You don't want to hear it.
Here's what manipulation happens.
You don't want to hear it.
You've manipulated yourself just now.
You have not wanted to hear nothing that I said the whole time, but this is the debate.
Listen, man, you just manipulated yourself. You're talking about that. That's why I said you explained it.
30 seconds.
Because you think that I don't know this.
You see that the whole time we got to listen to him. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to go.
That's the effect. Let's go to the
cause.
Is the seed.
Nuclear DNA is literally the 23andMe, the 23 chromosomes of your father, 23 chromosomes of your mother.
That's the effects of stuff. That's not the cause of things.
Now you have the mitochondrial DNA. That is only given from the mother.
You're moving a step ahead
to pass on the lineage.
You're moving a step ahead.
Understand what
all of that stuff doesn't matter. Just like before, you were talking about like the mother breastfeeding the baby. All of those stuff is effects of what actually caused it. I'm talking about the root of it. Manipulation happens two ways. Manipulation happens really one way, when you focus on the effects instead of going to the root, the cause. I just explained to you scientifically that proves that the woman came from the man. Scientific.
Now stop lying. You do not explain that. You use a fucking mouse, man.
They can't do it in mouse.
You use a pregnant male mouse.
They probably would be able to do it in humans. That is a scary thing. And that's something that I actually don't even.
Bro, how could you have a baby without blood? How do you have a baby without blood? The man cannot menstruate. What are you talking about to these people?
Before blood happens, who holds the seed?
Are you listening to yourself? The man does not have a womb. He does not have menstrual blood. He cannot carry a life. You're talking about they're doing it in mouse as if men was able to actually create on their own.
Yeah, so we'll try it this way.
What men do you know has had a baby, has birthed a baby? Out of his penis?
We'll try it this way. We'll try it this way to have a discussion.
I'm asking you,
the discussion isn't going anywhere because you're just speaking like out of how you feel.
Did the male have a penis? Did the male mouse have a penis that a baby came out of?
Question for you, man. Let's have a concise conversation because you're just speaking nonsense right now. Let me ask you.
Are you gonna let me rebuttal? Are you gonna let me rebuttal?
You didn't have any rebuttal to it. You just started speaking.
He did say that the mouse gave birth to an asexual mouse. Where the hell did the mouse come out of? Was this a C-section mouse?
It had to be.
Right. This is C-section all day.
Nonsense. But let me ask you a question.
I have to force myself to speak because you won't allow me to.
Does 1
You're
plus
asking
1
me
equal
another
2?
question.
Does 1 plus 1 equal 2?
No, one.
Unwind time. Thanks for your interaction in the chat.
And one come together, they merge. That's one, right?
Okay. God dang. So, this is my point. The nigga don't know what 1 plus 1 equals. He said that 1 and 1 merges.
Together, they merge. One, right? Together with a woman. Don't I go into that woman? Don't me and that woman go into each other? Now we one. I got my, I am one. At the end of the day, what you
got to watch on your left hand. You got to watch on your left hand. If you put another watch on your left hand, will you have 1 watches or 2 watch?
They're on the same hand. It's just 1 watch that they put together. If you leave, they merge together. You see what I'm talking about? You want me to have 2?
Put the watch on a different hand. Would you have 2 watches on you?
Let's get into silly land. This get into like how could I not agree with you conversation.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip 10 minutes.
All right.
And see where they are. Boom.
Okay, you said I read that one before. Then we have Acts with a Beast in the 2. He said the host isn't letting.
So you know what? You know who said something wonderful?
Yeah.
You know, Shannon. Shannon Sharp. Is it Shannon?
Hey, Shannon Sharp.
You know what I like? He said something. That was they were talking about watches, and you know that we had this conversation about why you wear watches. So in other words, so you know Ocho, he's kind of cheap with it, you know.
Yeah, drives a smart car.
couple of times, like, hey, listen, you buy all this expensive shit. Like, what's going on? What for? So, and I think it's some episode he had with Ocho. He was like, all right, I bought this expensive watch. You buy a watch to see what time it is. I buy a watch to let you know how much time my time is worth.
Right. That was Shannon.
Yeah. Oh, you saw that?
No. But Shannon said that to Ocho.
Yeah.
I buy this watch so everybody know how much my time is worth. Yeah, Shannon Sharp got some good one-liners, boy.
He got a couple of them. That was one of them.
So I went ahead 10 minutes and the show is over. So I'm just gonna go back like 6 minutes and see what the last 5 minutes look like.
You're John tilted. Anyways, so like I said, there's a hierarchy. You start at nominals. I don't start at nominals. But here's what it is. It's a hierarchy to things. So if you don't want to follow the orders, you can hop off the street.
I don't understand. Man, you're a bitch anyway, nigga. You didn't want to do nothing anyway. You got your ass murdered over here. You got your ass murdered over here.
I mean, you believe that one plus one does equal two. He said we can have this live stream in person. And I trust you in person. You wouldn't have this energy. I'm gonna fly you out.
You, man. I'll beat the fuck out you, bro. I'm not gonna be here, bro. I'm not your little boy. I'm not your
bring you out here.
You're talking.
I'll bring you out here.
Talking. We're talking.
Do you take my offer? Actually, offer you. So this is what men do. This is what men do. Because let's see if you're really man of your word. Men are men of their word. So here's my word. I'll fly you out here and we can have this debate in person. I'll put it on my word. If you really want to come out here, I'll fly you out here and we can do it in person. And after that, we could box. How about that? Let's do it. If you're really feeling froggy, nigga, leap. I'll send you out here. I'll put that on my word. And we got hundreds of people in here. No. You want to approve to that offer? If not, then shut up, nigga, and pay attention to the hierarchy. Here's the rules. So I'm going to ask you questions, and then you're going to listen, and you're going to answer these questions. Because you're just talking just to talk. Do you understand? So,
hey, you're a scary little boy. You're a scary little boy,
cool, man.
That's all it is. Talking about. Scary little boy,
question
man.
here.
How can you talking about flying out and niggas fighting? You talking about flying me out and trying to box?
Listen,
and have
my finances is good. My finances is good. I've been waiting for somebody like you that's talking spicy. This is what I do.
I told you you're a bitch,
this
man.
Is what I do, man.
You're a bitch. You don't do shit. You can tell you're a white boy. You're a little white boy that likes to play.
I
like
see
to
that
do this little jokey shit.
Listen,
answer the question. Why haven't let another man fly me out?
Then fly yourself. Fly yourself. I'm
trying to we know this is where it's going to get to. It's going to get to the silly.
I think I knew. How did I know this was going to end like this? I'm gonna fly you out, do a podcast with you, and then
they have gone complete. They have gone complete panty. They showed their whole panties.
Wow. I'm going to fly you out so we can box. And he's talking about this is how men do. The truth is a man doesn't have to really prove himself like that. So I question whether or not he should. And I never like when a person says as a man or like a man. When you're talking, just speak. You like a man or as a man, it's part of who you are. You don't have to. Like Hassan Campbell is always legendary for that. As a man, I'm going to apologize for what I said. Like, sir, just apologize. You don't have to tell me that as a man you're doing it. So, I think
as opposed to what?
Yeah, as opposed to what? As opposed to what? The mouse, the pregnant mouse. So it's a good pod. I recommend people check him out. He's good. It's entertaining, and I don't know if I learned anything other than propensity. He uses that word a lot. Propensity, and these two guys. I say this with all due respect. These are some pretty boys, And I know I'm the guy with the blonde hair and all that, with the shirt all the way unbuttoned. I get that, but these are some. These are some pretty boys, man. I don't know if they ever been in a war. I don't know. I don't know if they got the scars on their face to prove their wars. I don't know if they got the scars and the bullet wounds and the knife and the stabs and the slices to prove they're gangster. But these are some pretty boys, and I question whether they really ready to box after the after the stream. We gonna box, and I'm gonna fly you out to do this. But this guy's young. Young. He's young. Let's just say I like the fact that he has this violent energy for the guy, whereas for the woman, he just let it totally slide. It was a gentleman.
Right.
So uh, um, it's just interesting. I'm still thinking about the Claire Huxtable analogy you gave. There's such a bravo to you on that. It was such a great analogy because these were the greatest of these were the relationship goals that we wanted. This is the family that we wanted. This is what we were told was greatness, but at the underlining, it
It
was
was
all bullshit.
undermining at the same time.
Right. And it was done during the crack era, which they never discussed. Every time they would have opened up that door, they would have to be worried about a crackhead breaking into their house at that time of that show. And another thing I never liked, let me digress to your analogy about the Cosby Show. I never liked the Cosby Show.
No.
No. First of all, I was raised Jehovah's Witness, so Thursdays we were in the church for theocratic ministry school. And that was taking place at the very time the Cosby Show came on, which was, I believe, TGIF. Thank God it's TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, but I think it was Thank God it's Thursday or whatever the schedule was, whatever the slogans were at the time. It wasn't TGIF. It was whatever it was. It was on a Thursday. And I remember the people in the church used to say how they were recording on their VCRs the Cosby Show, but we didn't have a VCR. So we weren't able to record this amazing show. So I caught this show in my 20s or 30s. And I have to tell you, I kind of hated that show because that father on that show never supported his children. Every time that his kids came to him and said, "Look what I got, Dad. Look what I want to do," he showed them 1,000 ways that they were wrong for not doing it the way he thinks that they should have done it and the steps they should have taken in order to do that. And it was just nonstop. This father was, to me, never supported his children, and he looked down on them. And he never. I was glad never to have a father like that. So I'm glad I never saw that as a child. But this conversation is definitely. I'm gonna do a street interview maybe tomorrow. Now I've got a little motivation. I got a topic, and that is, can a man have a baby? And see what they saying out there in those streets. Get the pulse because it's it's that vagary. It's that idea of something that takes over more than the facts of something.
It
And I
becomes
would like
crazy.
yeah. So I'm definitely I'm curious and interested in that. Before we go, I wanted to play a news clip from Al Jazeera. You ever watch Al Jazeera?
I'm aware of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really watch them too much, but this was along the research of the show. Check this out. Tell me what you think of this.
Girl, how did you get your closet so organized? Oh, I just
Commercial. I'll have that changed for the next time because I will put my premium onto this number. Yeah, I haven't seen commercials on my phone since 2009 when they first offered the premium package. Okay. Oh no, what happened? That's not it. I did something wrong, dude.
Mm.
Um, let me see one more again. No, I did something wrong. I thought I sent it to this phone properly, and I did not. Hold on for 1 second. My phone is gonna freeze, but let me just. Oh, how would I would have to get out of the stream. Maybe I sent it to. All right. Don't worry about it. No big deal. If I find it, I'll put it in the show notes. But basically, what they were saying is that it's possible that boys will be extinct because so many scientists are being able to separate the boy and male sperm. The boy sperm and the boy and girl sperm, you can separate this, Y chromosome, Y sperm, and single it out. And that the more that science has done that, they say in the same time they've done that, men are producing less and less boy sperm. So they're testing all the sperm to look for the boy sperm, and they're finding it harder and harder and harder to find that boy sperm in the male's, I guess, in his sample or whatever have you. What do you think
There's a
about
lot of
that?
diabolical stuff going on that we need to get into, but I'm sure
Yeah.
we will. Like I said, we'll probably end up getting to stuff. The truth hurts. And the truth is not always fun.
No.
So stick with Breathing Back News if you kind of want to hear these truths.
Right. Don't
Yeah.
forget to double tap the screen, y'all, to give me the thumbs up. You can check the description for ways of donating to the show. And I'll give you the last word, Doctor. So I'll give you the last word.
Well, the last word is we are in a new age. 2024 is a new age, and it's a new age that's no different than what it was in the 20s, and then when it was in the 40s, and in the 60s, and in the 80s, and now this is the new 20s with a whole new agenda. But the idea is it's always moving towards where you have less freedom to do what you naturally are born to do, you know, and that is being stripping away from you, but at the same time giving you nice cherries and nice shiny things to look at, to take your mind off of it. So if you take your eyes off the prize, you will end up living, you know, and you'll be 70 and you'll be like, what the hell did I do with my life? You know, um, hopefully we wake up in our 40s and 50s and we're able to say something to the folks that's younger, and maybe they'll wake up and get it in their 30s and 40s and be able to say something and get it to because at the end of the day, the people that really needs to know it is the youth, and we're so far removed from them that our words right now can't really reach them. It's only the direct kids that we have, and we have to make sure we have these strong families, because if we don't have these strong families, even that information is going to get lost in the shuffle. So between the bickering, between the parents and stuff like that, the child is left with nothing. And this is the place that we're at. We are under siege,
Mm.
and just because you could go to the groceries and eat every day doesn't mean that you're not under vicious attack. And the people that's catching the strays is your kids. So let's try to save the kids.
I'm Big Elvis the Chef Rosenberg.
DocDoc the Surgeon, the people's doctor.
And we'll talk again soon.
All right.
Boom.